Modern automobiles have greater power and speed than ever before. There are more traffic lights, stop intersections, and heavier traffic. All this means more and quicker stops. And as a result, the need for accurate brake adjustment has become more and more important. So first, let's see how brakes work when adjusted properly. Then we'll examine the adjustment procedure which will result in proper brake action. As you all know, an automobile tends to keep moving in the same direction due to its moving weight or inertia. Here's where brakes come in. And when the brakes are applied, the friction of the shoes against the brake drums opposes rotation of the wheels. Now, let's see how a brake operates to produce this friction. Here is a brake drum and brake shoe. If the shoe is forced against the drum, the shoe will tend to rotate with the drum, so something is needed to keep the shoe from rotating. A pin at the end of the shoe will do this. Then, when force is applied to push the shoe against the drum, the shoe is anchored and cannot rotate, but it tries to rotate about the pin. This tendency to rotate increases the pressure of the shoe against the drum and uses the energy of the rotating drum to increase the shoe pressure against the drum. This is called self-energizing action. As you know, the Buick brake has two shoes, a front or primary shoe and a rear or secondary shoe. Each of these shoes is self-energizing. As the shoes are applied against the rotating drum, force is transferred from the primary shoe through the adjusting screw and secondary shoe to the anchor pin. This pin keeps the whole assembly from turning. You can easily see that due to the transfer of forces, the anchor pin is most important in brake operation. Brake shoe action produces and increases friction, which is the braking force. The pressure of the shoe in contact with the drum and the condition of the drum and lining surfaces determines the amount of braking force produced. If this braking force is uneven, the car tends to drive or pull to the side having the greater braking force. Here are brake shoes that are not in full contact with the drum. Notice how the primary shoe makes contact with the drum, but the secondary shoe touches only at the heel because the anchor pin location is too high. When this area of contact is reduced by a misplaced anchor pin, more heat is developed over a smaller area, causing hot spots on the lining and resulting in uneven brake action. Experience has shown that the big percentage of erratic brake action is caused by improperly located anchor pins. Now, let's go through the adjustment procedure for brakes that have erratic action, keeping in mind that we want to obtain even friction by good brake shoe contact. However, to save time, we'll make a check to find those things other than improper adjustment that could cause uneven braking. First, we'll check the tire pressures, making sure they're all the same. Also, we'll see if there is a big difference in tire wear from one side to the other, as this can cause a difference in road friction and contribute to unequal brake effect. While checking the tires, take a good look at the backing plates, the inside wall of the tires, and the drums for evidence of oil seal or wheel cylinder leaks. If leaks are found, remove wheel for further inspection and correction. Next, be sure that the parking brake is released. Then remove the adjusting hole cover from the backing plate. Using the brake adjusting tool, expand the shoes. Stop when there is enough drag to require two hands to turn the wheel in a forward direction. This will put both shoes in contact with the drum, exerting pressure against the anchor pin. Be careful not to tighten the adjustment too much, as this might distort the drum or shoe. Don't expand the brake by pedal pressure. This will only move the notched ends of the shoes away from the anchor pin. There is no force against the anchor pin when this is done, and, of course, no adjustment. Loosen the brake anchor pin nut approximately 3/4 of a turn. Make certain the anchor pin washer is not riding on the backing plate flange. Be careful not to loosen the anchor pin too much. This will cause the pin to tilt or cock in its mount, and when it is retightened, it will move away from the location determined by the shoes. Now, wrap the backing plate around the outer circumference with a hammer weighing about 1.5 pounds. Do not wrap the anchor pin, as this may force it into the wrong position in the backing plate. Now let's see what has happened inside the drum. Due to the jar of the hammer on the backing plate, the pressure of the shoes has forced the anchor pin into a more central position. Next, tighten the anchor pin nut securely, and again check the drag necessary to rotate the wheel forward. If the drag is less than before, it is a sign that the anchor pin has moved. If the anchor pin has moved, expand the brake shoes again until a two-hand drag is obtained, the same as before. Now go through the anchor pin procedure again. 1. Loosen the anchor pin nut 3/4 of a turn. 2. Wrap the backing plate. 3. Tighten the anchor pin nut. And 4. Check the drag. Repeat this procedure until the drag remains the same. Now let's see why we repeat this procedure. After the first adjustment, the anchor pin moved, but was not quite centered in the notches of the shoes. Notice the force tending to center the anchor pin has been reduced when the anchor pin and shoes moved. Therefore, the operation is repeated until no change in drag indicates that the anchor pin is correctly seated in the notches. The next adjustment step is to loosen the brake adjusting screw 15 notches. If the anchor pin has been properly set and brakes are not binding, the brake should begin to free up at 6 notches. Repeat the adjustment procedure on all remaining wheels, never attempting a correction by making adjustments on front wheel brakes only. If any wheel has noticeably more drag than the others, after backing off the adjusting screw 6 notches, repeat the anchor pin adjustment procedure on that brake. If the drag is still not comparable to the others, remove the wheel and drum and check the brake assembly and backing plate for the cause. Your shop manual will cover operations to correct these conditions and help you make an exact diagnosis. After the brake adjustment has been completed, be sure to reinstall all of the inspection hole covers to prevent dirt and other foreign matter from entering the drum assembly. A road test is the next step. Find a smooth, level road for the test. Rough or sloping roads may give a false impression of the brake action. Sometimes the original effect will still be present. However, after a few brake applications are made, the condition will improve. But easy does it when first applying the brakes on road test. Brakes, like any mechanical device, must have a chance to break in. Give the shoes an opportunity to wear in so the pressure is even throughout the shoe area. Avoid frequent severe brake action until the brake lining is set. If this is not done, the lining may be burned, where the high spots on the lining cause greater pressure. The procedures you have just seen will result in full contact between shoes and drums and even friction at all wheels. It will solve most problems of erratic brake action. However, further checks may sometimes be necessary. If the brakes still do not operate properly, remove the wheels and drums to see what could be causing a difference in friction between the drums and shoes. After covering the bearings, blow out the dust around the shoes and backing plates and inspect the linings. First, look for the color markings on the edges of the linings to see if the correct linings are installed. Check service bulletins for listings of the color markings. Burned linings can cause uneven friction and may look like this. If they are not too badly burned, it is possible to grind off about 20/1000ths of an inch with a spindle-mounted grinder, providing sufficient lining material then remains. If they are burned so deeply that the removal of 20/1000ths does not get down to good lining material, then they must be replaced. Lining soaked with oil or brake fluid will cause erratic brake action because of the changed friction. If this is found, repair any leaks that may have caused the condition and install new linings or shoe assemblies. Inspect the shoes for uneven wear. If they are worn unevenly, the point of greatest wear will be at either end. Uneven wear may be caused by long operation with incorrect anchor pin position. In cases of extreme wear, replace the linings or shoe assemblies. If wear is slight, the trouble may be cured by grinding with a spindle-type grinder. A scored drum may also cause uneven brake action due to a difference in friction. With scored drums, turn the drum to obtain a smooth surface and use new lining on the shoes. Also, look for other things that can cause erratic brakes. A loose backing plate, a stuck cylinder, loose wheel bearings, or poor wheel alignment. All these things may cause dive, but remember, nearly all cases of erratic brake action can be cured by the procedure we have just seen. So, let's review the steps. The first step is to check the tire pressures and make a visual inspection of tires, drums, and backing plates. Second, expand the brake to a two-hand drag. Third, loosen the anchor pin nut 3/4 of a turn. Remember, do not loosen it too much. And fourth, wrap the backing plate with a hammer to relocate the pin. 5, tighten the anchor pin nut. 6, check the drag, and if it is changed, readjust the anchor pin until the drag does not change. For step 7, back off the brake adjusting screw 15 notches, but remember to check to see if the brake begins to free up at 6 notches. If any brake has more drag at 6 notches than the others, repeat the anchor pin adjustment on that brake. 8th and last, road test the car. It's as easy as it sounds. With this simple adjustment, you will know your brake jobs are well done. You'll know your customers are satisfied, and that they will come back, not with a frown, but with a smile.